Hello everyone. It's Porshel from Dresusta Studios. Today I'll be talking on cinematics in Unreal Engine 5. I I have here with me Salman.
Hello, everyone.
All right. Let's get started. Alright. First things first. I'm going to be creating a folder. I'm going to be storing my map actually. Let's call this map. Then I'm going to create a new level. Let's call this, I don't know, tutorial. Okay, to open this up, as you can see, this is a blank map. Let's just add some lights. I'm just going to be doing the basic lighting setup. I'm just going to bring in a directional light, then I'll bring in a skylight. Then then I'm going to be bringing a sky atmosphere. And let's bring in a exponential height. Okay, I think that's it for the lighting. Well, one thing we can do is me bring this up from my second screen. Well, let me look up real time capture from the skylight component, and I'm going to enable this. So this is going to be updating the light capture in real time, so that when we move the sun, it's going to update just like this. So I'm basically pressing Ctrl and L to move the sun, as you can see. All right, let's add a landscape. See, hmm, let's go for 1024. Or it doesn't do 124, but let's roll with this. All right. So we got our basic level set up. So yeah, let me just bring in a humanoid character just for reference, so we get the sense of scale. Also, Salman, if you have any questions, like you can ask me, since since
Okay.
you're since you're also learning. So do you have any
Okay.
questions like up until this point?
No.
Alright.
Okay.
So I'm going to be adding a feature or content pack from here. We can basically just import the third person template. Alright, perfect. I think that's added. I'm going to go to the characters folder. Then I'm going to be bringing in this V5 queen, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's get to the fun stuff. I'm going to be adding a level sequence for this level. I'm going to be creating a new folder, cinematics. Alright. And I'm going to be calling this test sequence. So This is going to bring up a timeline. I don't. I think you can see right here. I have a bunch of different things laid on here. Let me just fix this real quick. What you can
Okay.
do is actually go to your window. It's going to basically fix whatever that I did, and you can just go to the default win editor layout, and it's just going to make it default. All right, great. So I'm going to be opening up the test sequence. Right. So as you can see, we have a lot of different buttons up here. But we're going to be focusing on the camera. Let's bring in a camera first. So I'm going to click on this button. This is going to actually bring in a camera, and it's going to also bring in a camera cut as well. So as you can see, it brought a cine camera actor, and along with it, it brought in a camera cut. So I'm going to explain what a camera cut does, and also I'm going to be explaining how you can use this to add multiple cameras. But we're going to get to that later. Let's just talk about the camera. So this Cine camera actor is really cool. You can actually tweak a lot of different things in the Cine camera actor. So as you can see in this details panel, you have a bunch of different settings. So as you can see, my focus is not adjusted, so I can actually go down to the focus settings, and I can actually adjust the focus. I can use the eyedropper tool and just pick my character. Boom, it's in focus now. All right, let's do a debug because the focus is not perfect. So I'm going to do a debug. So you can see this is going to actually create a plane to see where the focus is right now. So as you can see, is right here, but I don't want it here. I want it on the face of the queen. So to something like this. All right, perfect. Also, you can actually adjust whatever aspect ratio that you're working with. This is now set to 16 by 9, but I usually like to work with something a little bit more cinematic. So, and I also like using anamorphic lenses. So I think I'm going to be actually using a anamorphic lens with this one. So I'll go down to the lens settings, and then I'm going to change the squeeze factor and slide it all the way up to 2. So as you can see, it actually increased the width of the scene. And with that, we need to actually do a crop. So the crop would be at 2.39 actually. Yeah, perfect. So we actually have a, um, as you can see, I don't think you can actually tell if it's anamorphic. Oh, let's go. I want to actually add a light. Add a point light here. I'm going to increase the intensity so we can see. Source radius. Alright, perfect. And I'm going to go back to the Cine camera actor. So the current focal length is set to 35. I'm going to increase that to something like 80 because I like working with longer lenses like 80, 85, like 105. I usually don't go below 50 for whatever that is I'm doing. So this is actually out of focus now. Let me just bring in the focus settings. We debug it again, just like this. Okay, so we were testing out that if this is a anamorphic lens or not. So if I make it out of focus, you can see you can actually look at the bokeh effect here. You can see it's all squeezed up and it's very oval right here. And if I change the squeeze factor back to 1, you can see it's not oval anymore. You can actually see the blades now. Also, you can actually increase the blade count here, like in the diaphragm blade count actually. So if I increase it up to 16, it's more rounded. If I decrease it, it's more squarish, hexagonal, and then all the way up to it looks almost round. So I'm going to keep it at default. It's a 7, and I'm going to revert back to my anamorphic lens. Let's go. All right, let's fix the focus. Okay. All right, let's talk about setting up our keyframes. So what keyframes are essentially, uh, this is going to tell the engine what to do from point A to point B. So let's say I add a keyframe here at the transform of the camera and move it all the way up to, let's say, here, and do a simple rotation, try to keep it in the center like this, and I end my keyframe. And if I play it back, so this is going to do a simple rotation. So I added a keyframe at frame 0 and added a keyframe at frame 96. So this is going to do this. So you can add keyframes for the transform. Also, you can actually add keyframes for the focus and the aperture, the focal settings, the focal length. You can basically adjust it based on your frame on your timeline.
Hello.
Hey, look who you have here, Suchit.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Suchit. We're actually talking about the cinematics in Unreal
All right.
Engine. So if you want, you can stick around and basically
Yeah, I always wanted to learn cinematic.
All right, then let's continue. So I was
Yup.
just talking about the keyframe system.
Okay.
So yeah, basically how you can actually add keyframes to actually direct the camera inside of Unreal Engine. So
Okay.
where was I? So yeah, so basically you can add keyframes for a bunch of different things like the aperture, focal length, and the focal distance. So as you can see, while I move my camera, the focus is like is out of focus. So what I can actually do is I can bring in the debug plane again and actually readjust the focus for this frame and then hit the, oh my bad, I didn't add a initial keyframe. So I'm gonna
Oh, we
add
need
a,
to add a keyframe at first, right?
yeah. So then I'm gonna add another keyframe onto here, just like this. So it's adjusted. So you can see it's
Uh,
now properly
Fully
focusing.
focused. Yep.
Yeah. So all right then. So the next thing what we can actually do is, oh, I forgot to mention you can actually change the frame rate from here. You can see the FPS button. You can actually it's now set to 30 FPS. You can
So we can make it
actually,
higher or lower as we
yeah.
want it.
Yeah, you can go for stop motion like in animation, like 12 frames a second, 24
All
frames a
right.
second, and then you can go to like up to 240. And you can also, like, set something very absurd, like in the custom mode. You can actually set up 900 or something. Oh, it doesn't go up
But
to
in
900.
it will not take 900.
Well, you can do 600. Like you can do
Yeah.
real slow mo in here. All right, but for our purposes, we're going to be sticking to
Let's stick
30
to the
FPS.
3.
30 FPS. All right, so there are, like, different methods of, like, showing the timeline.
Time.
This is actually
What is
set
this?
set to frames. Now you can actually set this to seconds,
Oh,
so you can actually get a real, like, feel for the time. But I like to work with frames rather than
frames.
seconds. And you can also use the time codes as well. If you want, you can use time codes.
With frame, it
So
makes more easier, right?
yeah, with frames you can actually properly position your keyframes.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to be switching back to frames.
90, 15.
Also, you can see the keyframes are like in all these red buttons.
Yep.
You can actually change the keyframe type. It's now set to cubic auto. Then you can, like, change it to
L-
linear.
So what
And
will happen if I change the keyframe type?
so if you change the keyframe type, it's going to change the interpolation between the point A and the point B. So
All
basically it
right.
means linear means is going to be at a steady speed. As you can actually see, it's going to move at a very constant speed. But
Okay.
if I change it to cubic, then it's going to start off very fast. Sorry, start off very slow, and
And like
then it's going to ramp up, and then it's going to be slow again. So it's slow at the end. You can actually tell. So it's
uh,
fast.
this cubic auto mode looks better in cinematic, no?
Well, I wouldn't say it looks better in cinematic. If you have your own, like, you have your use cases for both. Sometimes you
Yeah.
might want to use linear, sometimes you might want to use cubic.
It depends on scene, right?
Yeah, it depends on what you're actually going for.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that's not the only way you can adjust this. You can also actually opt for something other than cubic. You can actually go to constant. So this is going to make it so that uh the camera actually jumps to the other frame. So it's steady,
It'll
and then,
jump. Oh.
yeah, it's going to jump just like this. So these are the few things that you actually need to care about. And the other ones, we really don't, like, use those much, these, like, too much. I will show you the cubic break actually. This is going to start and then, like, stop at the middle, and this is going to wrap up again. So you need actually, I think you actually need more frames here. I think.
I didn't see any differences in these two frames only.
Yeah, you're going to need more frames than this to actually show what this is
Then,
doing. Cubic break means it's going to stop at the middle and it's going to ramp up again. So I
mm,
think you can see here. See, it's going to stop and it's going to ramp up again.
yep, yep, yep.
So this is actually
Now we see a
cubic break.
difference.
So these have very specific use cases. So
Right.
as per se, if you're actually using you're actually animating a clock, like a clock hand. So
Hmm.
you can use this cubic break to actually move the clock hand, then stop it, and then move it again, then stop it, and then move it again.
Yep.
You can imagine the use cases. But these are actually the default default configurations how you can use these interpolations, but you can
Yeah.
actually go to your curve editor. Actually, as you can see here, there
Oh,
is a
curve
button.
editor. What's that?
Yeah, so this is actually going to let you modify your keyframes. As you can see here,
Oh,
here
like
yeah,
I can modify the keyframes or any type of frames in detailed in this. What did you call this?
this is the curve editor.
Curve editor. Right.
Yeah, so you can actually adjust the curve of the interpolation.
Hmm.
So I can make it ramp up and ramp down actually. So let's say I'm going to be working just on the x-axis. So if I increase the ramp over here, so it's going to do something like this.
No.
So I think it's a bit too much here.
Uh,
Like if I do this, you can actually see what it does. All right, so I can actually change the rotation actually in here as well. So as you can see, uh this rotation, if I do this and bring it up here, this is going to this is going to change the interpolation
the,
rotate yeah,
alright.
interpolation of the rotation, yeah.
Yep.
So it might be a little bit difficult to understand at first. So basically we're actually doing a very simple rotate, and this doesn't explain the use case too well. But if you are
Mm,
actually animating any object, you can actually adjust how much it ramps up and how much it ramps down to get a more organic feel to that animation.
understand.
So for now, we're not going to be really diving into the curve editor because you really don't need the curve editor, if you're a beginner. So we're going
Yeah, this is
to,
way too complicated for me right now.
yeah. So let's just put it aside for now. I'm going to close this. All right. So
We can use these keyframes to work with.
yeah. Basically, yeah. So, all right. So we have our camera cuts up top. So I actually talked about how you can use your camera cards to switch between different cameras. So I'm going to show how you can do it in a bit. So
Right.
I'm going to actually rename this cine camera actor to maybe camera one, camera underscore one. And then what I'm going to actually do is, because I want to keep these settings, I want to actually keep these settings, so I'm going to actually duplicate this camera. So I'm going to do a Control C and Control V. So this just like duplicates the camera.
Yep.
So this is the new one that it brought in. So I'm going to actually rename this big camera 2. So I can go inside and delete these two keyframes. So just for clarity's sake, you don't need to actually copy the camera from here. You can actually bring another camera from the place actors, or like add a camera from here. But I did this method because I actually wanted to keep all my settings that I changed here, and just to get the consistency. So I actually copied it here. So you can actually bring in another camera. You don't have to do this way. All right. So we have our camera right here, but as you can see, let's go to our second camera. Actually, let's go to our second
Okay.
camera, and maybe like do something like this, and give it a keyframe, change the focus.
Focus.
Yeah, change the focus. This looks okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this plus icon, and then I'm going to add a binding to the camera cards. So as you can see, this is already bound to camera 1. So
Hmm.
and you can see I placed my scrubber at this point. Is going to create another binding where I placed my scrubber edge. So I'm going to click
So
on my
the
camera. Yeah.
so the scene will change like when the first camera sequence is done, then it will go to the second camera.
Yeah, exactly. So
All right.
I'm going to bind it with the second camera. So as you can see, the in the camera cards, this is set to camera 2 and this is set to
Yep,
camera
yep.
1. So let's view the actual also you need to view it from the camera cuts. So if you click on this icon, you can actually preview it from here. So I'm going to hit play. So you can
Hmm.
see this is going to change our camera from camera 1 to camera 2. So you can actually make multiple different cuts,
Yeah,
and yeah, with different cameras. You can also actually bring in the first camera from here, like twice. So you can do something like this, and boom, you can bring it back, something like this.
uh, like in this method we can change between a lot of cameras
Yeah,
and
yeah.
scenes.
Mm-hmm. So this actually makes it a lot easier to,
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
yeah. So what I actually like to do is group my cameras together onto a folder. So what you can do is bring in a folder and just call it cameras. And I'm going to basically drop all of my cameras into this folder. So it keeps it a little bit more tidy, because you
Yeah, more
can,
organized.
yeah, you
We
can
all need
have,
that.
yeah. So you can actually add a lot of different things into this sequencer. So it can get cluttered up very easily. So it's
Mm.
a good decision to just to keep it clean. You can actually bring in the mannequin, and I'm going to put this in here.
Just like that, drag and drop.
Yeah. So this is going to actually bring you onto the animation mode, because I added a skeletal mesh. As you can see, the mannequin actually comes with a so the mannequin actually comes with a control rig, so you can get all of these bones. You can control it through the control rig, and you can actually make your own animation through it. So I'm going
Uh,
to touch just a little bit on the animation. Yeah, Suchit, were you saying something?
I was saying I can animate the character in this sequence.
Yeah. You don't need to go onto a separate software to to animate the character. So you can see I can rotate the head like this. So
Then that's pretty time saving, I say.
yeah, it's really nice. So what you can do is actually I'm going to move this. So it's just like it's going to do a simple look around. Oh, this looks
Oh,
okay.
the
Let's
camera
re
changes.
Yeah, let's preview this. So this is looking, yeah, this looks like the mannequin is looking at us. But I
Yeah,
mean, you get the idea. You can actually
yeah, I totally get it.
animate inside Unreal Engine itself. So makes it a lot easier.
Yep.
So what you can actually like go to the animation mode from here, and then you can get the access from here again, and you can
Mhm.
actually rotate the arm like this, and then I'm not like a super good at animating, so I'm going to be doing a basic, I guess. So basic, like in hello, doesn't look too good, but yeah, we gotta work with what we have. So let's bring down the hat. Yeah, you can animate through here. Actually, another cool thing is you can actually bake this animation. So if you click on the mannequin itself, there's an option to bake animation into sequence. So it's going to ask us where to save. So I'm just going to be saving this onto our cinematics folder, and I'm going to name it test anim. So export to animation. All right. So what you can do now is you can actually get rid of the control rig, and we can use our baked animation from here. So I'm just going to locate it from here on my content browser, and I'm just going to uh oh, I didn't even need to locate it from here. I can actually click on this button and then just like
Search for
search.
it.
Yeah, just search for it, and see, this is now like a normal baked animation that you can add. So
I
it's a pretty
understand.
cool way to
Yep.
create and bake animations if you want. And you can actually go do this like vice versa. If you have a control rig, you can actually do this vice versa. So because this mani has a control rig, what I can actually do is right click and bake this
Like,
into a control rig. So you can see, you can select your control rig, and then I can hit create and see. You're going to have all of these frames that you can like later on edit. So let's say if you have a animation pack where you brought the animation from, then
mhm.
you can actually edit your animations from here. So to
Oh,
make it perfect for whatever it is that you're doing. So yeah,
absolutely fair.
yeah. So that's that. So I'm just going to change this animation to active, because this whenever we do that, it makes it inactive. So if I'm going to just right click on here and on the property, then I'm going to
It's
click
active.
on active. So the animation works again. So pretty simple stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, and you can actually do a bunch of different things. You don't it's You can also actually edit the transform of the mannequin, so it looks like it's moving. So what you can actually do is, I'm going to get out of the animation mode, then I can look at the mannequin, then I can actually move the mannequin like this. So it's going to do something like this. It's in backwards
It
right now.
goes backward. Yeah.
All right. So you can see it's coming forward, but I don't have a walk animation right now. So Yeah, so you get the gist.
Yeah, yeah, I get the idea.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to touch a little bit more on focal distances because the focal length actually, because I told you guys before that is I only work with 85 or 80 or 85. And I don't go less than 50. So there's a pretty big reason why I do this, because it like a larger lens can actually make the depth seem more cinematic, and it can separate the background more, because the larger the lens is going to make the depth of field very shallow. So you can actually see the background blur is going to
Yeah.
increase and decrease based on the focal length I have. So, oh, this is the camera 2, I presume. So this is camera 1, and if I change the focal length,
Oh,
you can actually see see more of the background, and this can
yeah.
also affect your depth perception as well. So if you set it to 85, so this looks way more cinematic now.
Yes.
So this, what it does is does a sort of background compression. So I can actually do a little bit of visualization for you real quick. So I'm going to quickly get out of this camera, and I'm just going to be adding some shapes here. Maybe a cube, then I can add a cylinder, I suppose. Oh, I added a cone. Well, we can just stick to that. So I can just scale this cone, like right here, and make this a little bit taller. This, what I can actually do is, so we have a few objects in our background. All right. So we can actually see how it compresses the background. So as you can see, the background here, and I'm going to quickly change the focal length to 30 back again. So you can
Right.
see now you can actually see the background way more.
Clear.
Yeah, you can actually see the background way more. But in case of cinematics, we actually want the background to be more compressed. So let's set it back to 85, and then I can actually do a little demonstration for you. So like this here, then I'm going to set it to 30. So you can actually see how it compresses the background. So for this to work, what I need to do is I need to go to the camera 1 and actually bring this way closer to somewhere like
Like,
this.
hmm.
Oh, my bad. I clicked on the wrong keyframe. Something like this. So you can see now. So how it compresses and decompresses the background.
Oh,
See?
now I can see the differences.
So this is a cool trick we use in cinematography to uh make the subject look way more profound, and this also has a effect on the human subject as well. So if you have a larger focal length, it's going to
Mm.
make your face look it's going to make your face look a little bit more defined. So I don't have a human face here with me, but you can get the idea of how it might affect your face. You can really see it on the mannequin. Um, I guess you cannot actually here. But if we bring in a meta human, then I think you might be able to see it. But we're not going to be touching on meta humans today because this is
All
going
right.
to make the tutorial a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. Well, that's it for the basic movements in the sequencer and how to put a camera. So we can actually put a lot of different things in here. So as you can see, I have a point light here. You can actually bring
Mhm.
in your point light and you can actually adjust your intensity from here. So what I can do is I can I can adjust the intensity. Let's say I'm going to be putting it into 60. Then I'm going to drag this in to do this. So this sort of makes this look like this is flickering.
Hmm.
So I'm going to copy all of this and then so you can see. Oh, I think I need to bring in the light a little bit closer. I think you can probably tell now. Mm,
No, not that much differences, I see.
I'll just get out of the camera so you can see it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play this. So you can
Yep,
see,
yep, the light is
y-
flickering.
so you can get a flicker effect if you wanted to do it this way. You can also actually adjust the color in here. So I'm going to add a keyframe at the first color. Then I'm going to click on here. You get your RGB channels. So I'm going to actually decrease the red color. So this is going to make it a little bit more towards the blue. So as you can see, this is changing the color.
Yep.
So I can also do this. Change the change the green like this.
Yeah, we can do multiple colors with keyframes.
Yeah, yeah. The sky is the limit actually. So you can get this cool RGB effect if you want.
Yeah, that looks really cool. Yet simple.
Mm-hmm. So,
Man, I wanna create my own cinematic.
yeah, I mean you can this thing is very simple, but it takes just a little bit of time to getting used to. So so what you can actually do in here as well, you can actually add a lot more objects in the background. So you can actually add sort of this cube in the background, and then what I'm going to do is bring in this cube. Then I'm going to just change the scale of this cube. So if I go here, I'm going to add a keyframe onto this cube, and I'm just going to scale this cube from here. So it's a little bit easier to do it from here.
Alright, the scale of the cube will be changed.
Yeah. So I'm
Difference.
just going to duplicate this keyframe and do something like this. So it does something like this. So you can adjust the scale. You can
Yeah,
actually adjust the rotation just like this. I'm just going to uh, add a little bit rotation on the z-axis. So just like this. So you can see the cube is also rotating.
Uh, Scaling or
So
rotating.
yeah, and you can actually do the location.
To damn.
Yeah. So something like this.
Well, that looks mysterious.
I mean, like, you can, like, the possibilities are limitless. You can make whatever you want, actually.
Yeah, what I imagine.
Yeah. So so this was a pretty simple breakdown onto how to use your sequencer, and maybe on our second episode we can actually touch a bit more on lighting and touch a bit more on uh how to set up your scene and how to play with contrast and shadows and lights a little bit. So
Hmm.
I think that's it for today. And Sujit,
All right.
if you have any questions, you can actually ask.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually do have a question. Is there any shortcuts for keyframing for the
Well,
cinematic?
I'm glad you asked. I totally forgot about this. You can actually add a keyframe. You just need to have whatever you want the keyframe selected. Then you can like press the S button. So I'm
Hmm.
pressing my S key right here is going to add keyframes,
Oh,
just like this.
then we don't
So
have to put any keyframes manually.
yeah, I mean, you
That's
can
pretty
do
easy.
this, but I do it like manually, but because I'm used to it, and yeah,
Okay.
and you can actually use actually
I don't
use
want to use that. I'm way too lazy.
yeah, you can actually use the shortcut, yeah. So there are a bunch of shortcuts in Unreal. Also, I think I forgot to mention you can actually lock your keyframe so you don't accidentally edit something on your sequencer. There is this lock button in here,
Hmm.
so you can actually lock your keyframe while you're previewing it.
That's very
Sometimes
helpful.
yeah, sometimes while you're moving around and you might like move something accidentally and then like press the S button and it gets keyframed. So it's a pretty common issue to have, so you can actually lock your sequencer.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's it for today. And also yeah, and we can talk about lighting, playing with shadows, and maybe we can also touch on how to uh output this like into a video or into image sequences
Okay.
on in the next episode. All right everyone, that's it for today.